So now let's go ahead and list out all the items which are consumed by the user on the index page. So doing that is actually quite simple. The only thing which you need to do is that you just need to go ahead and in here in the else part over here, along with displaying the list of food items, now we also want to go ahead and display the list of consumed foods as well. So now we know that all the consumed foods are actually present in the consume model. So I will simply go ahead and say consume dot objects, and instead of getting all the objects, I will filter the objects. So I will say dot filter, and we actually want to filter them by the user. So we only want to get the items which are consumed by the currently logged in user. So for that, I will say where user is going to be equal to the current user, and to get the current user, I will simply do a request dot user. Okay, so that will actually give us all the objects which are consumed by the current user. So I will save those objects into something called as let's say consumed underscore food. Okay, so once I go ahead and save that up over here, we are pretty much good to go. So now the only thing which we need to do is that we now need to pass those objects to the index.html template so that we will be able to display them up on the index page. So in order to pass them in, I will simply go ahead and right after passing the foods object, I will go ahead and pass in consumed underscore food as consumed underscore food. Okay, so once we have passed this thing in, now we just need to go inside the index.html, and in here right outside the form, I can just go ahead and use a for loop to loop through all of the items inside consumed food. So I can use a for loop. So I will say something like for, let's call this object or a single object as C. So for C in, that's going to be consumed underscore food. Now let's end for. So I will say end for over here. And now in order to display all of those items, I can simply go ahead and I can say something like C. So C here is actually the food item object. So I can simply go ahead and type in C, and let's see what do we get right up over here. So now let me just go ahead and refresh. So as you can see, I will get consume object 3 up over here. So this consume object 3 is actually a consume object, which means that if you go to the models.py file, so this is the consume object over here we are talking about. So from this consume object, we want to access the food consume object. So you can say that it's an object stored inside an object. So here I can say something like c dot food underscore consumed. So if I do that, let's see what do we get. So if I hit refresh, I will get that particular object, which is brown bread. Now, if I actually want to go ahead and access the calories or carbohydrates from this, I can simply do dot carbs. And now if I go ahead and hit refresh, that will actually give me the carbs inside the brown bread. However, now in this case, we actually want all the properties of the food item. So the properties of the food item are nothing but these properties, which is name, carbs, proteins, fats, and calories. So in order to get all of those items, what you need to do is that you need to go to the index.html, and first of all, let's get the name. So I will say this dot name, and in front of this, I will give an arrow to separate the other properties. So now I'll just go ahead, copy that, paste it, and say that this is going to be the carbs. Then let's paste the other thing for protein, and now let's do one more for fats. So I will say fats, and let's do one more over here, and this is going to be for calories. Okay, so now once we have this, I will give a break tag here to separate all of those items. So I will say /br. Okay, so this is how the format would actually look like. So now instead of just displaying the object, we have displayed the properties of the objects as well, which is the name, carbs, protein content, fats, and calories. So now if we go back and hit refresh, as you can see, it will give me that the first food item is brown bread. It has 14 carbs, 2.7 grams of proteins, 0.8 grams of fats, and 73 calories. So currently we only have one item added. So now let's add another item, which is, let's say, oats. So now if I click on add, so it says we have an error over here, and the error is food consumed reference before assignment. So now whenever you get such kind of errors, so don't get discouraged by them. It's a usual occurrence. The only thing which you need to do after getting such error is that you need to go ahead and understand the meaning of this error. So this particular thing says that the local variable which we have used, and the name of the local variable is stated as well. That means we have some issue with the consumed food variable. Now the issue is that Django says that we have used or referenced this variable even before assigning it. And it will also state that this error exception location is this particular thing, which is nothing but the views.py file, and it will even state the line number as well, which is 18. So now if you go back over here, and if you go to views, and if you go to line number 18, as you can see, it will give us an error about this food consumed. So technically what happens is that in the else part, if the else part is executed, that means if the request method is not post, then this will execute fine. However, what happens when you actually have a post request? So in case of a post request, the consumed food variable is not actually defined. And even if that's not defined, we have still passed the consumed food variable up over here, which is wrong. So now in order to fix that, the only thing which you need to do is that you actually need to get the food consumed object over here as well. So in order to get that, you could either go ahead, copy this and paste it up over here, or else what you can do is that you can actually go ahead and get it out of this particular else block. So I guess getting it out of the else block would be a better option. So I will go ahead and just get it out of the else block. And now let's see if it works. So now if I go back, let's go back to the index page. So it will display oats. Now let's see if this will actually work with the post request. So now let's select some other item, which is egg. So if I click on add, as you can see, eggs are added up over here. So now I will select oats again, click on add, and now oats will be added up over here as well. So that's it for this lecture, and I hope you guys were able to understand how this thing is working right now. So if you select some item and click on add, it will simply add that item to the list, and that list is going to be displayed up over here. Now in the upcoming lecture, let's actually work on some formatting over here, because currently this application in no way looks like a macro analysis or macronutrient analysis application. So in the upcoming lecture, we'll try to make it a little bit better by adding some bootstrap styling. So thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Thank you.